That one's for David's mom. This week's performance went really well. Alright, let's just get this out of the way right from the start. I know I have this new haircut. Alright, I tried to pop a blackhead and it didn't go well. Shut up. Alright, so let's get into week 24. So, I'm just an average guy chasing a big dream to become a stand-up comedian. And this week, I'm going to be reacting to week 24, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about a joke that worked, a joke that didn't, and see if we can fix the bit, and overall, just what I learned from the experience. So, without further ado, let's watch. Diagnosed with OCD, which stands for Obsessive Compulsive Demon. It's like a demon that screams if things aren't in order or aren't symmetrical. My parents took this pretty hard. They recommended that I get a second opinion on the diagnosis, but I trust the first TikTok quiz. They handed me the OCD workbook just in case, and I noticed the pattern on the cover wasn't symmetrical. Are you kidding me? What's their design for the epileptic workbook? A strobe light? That one's for David's mom. Pissed me off. But I did have a look at the OCD symptoms checklist. My gosh, it was like looking at my to-do list. Wash hands excessively, make sure the burner's off, intrusive thoughts, intrusive thoughts, wash hands excessively, wash hands excessively, check the burners off, intrusive thoughts. If you guys weren't here, I'd do this 67 more times. So count yourselves lucky. Probably my biggest obsession are germs. I'm a major germaphobe. So it's even hard for me to have people over. You know, like, I love my friends, but one of them might sneeze. I hate sneezes. They're mucus cannons. Or as I like to call them, snot guns. Hate them. I used to try to get people to cover their mouths. Now, I just go for revenge. I put out a spray bottle, fill it with yellow liquid, and I don't label it cat piss, because that'd be too honest. It's just labeled not lemonade. Because that mystery, way more terrifying. Wash his hands excessively. Intrusive thoughts. You guys, I gotta go finish this list. Keep it going for your host. This has been fun. Alright, so not bad, not bad. So the joke that worked this week, let's talk about the first one. The obsessive compulsive demon. Okay, so here's why that joke worked. Is OCD is an acronym. And right up front, you have an expectation. You know that that stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. So, it actually sets up a joke for an easy misdirect. Because whenever you have an acronym that people recognize, you can redirect them, you can bait and switch them by not following what it actually stands for, right? As I did with saying obsessive compulsive, you think I'm going to say disorder? Boom, I hit you with demon. And that usually gets a laugh. It's not the hugest laugh, but it's a great start into the bit. And it's also how I feel, you know, like it's like being possessed by a demon that screams when there's not order, right? That's the kind of idea I'm trying to get across. So that one worked, and let's talk about one didn't work as well. So I'll play it again here. The one about the cover pattern not being symmetrical. I noticed the pattern on the cover wasn't symmetrical. So actually, right at the start, that joke got a laugh when I said the pattern on the cover wasn't symmetrical, right? Because it's just this ridiculous irony that the person designing the cover is actually triggering the disability that they're trying to help. That's a funny observation, right? And it's just ridiculous. That person needs to be fired.
You're fired.
Right? So I start out with this energy. And then my example about the epileptic.
What's their design for the epileptic workbook? A strobe light?
Having the cover with the strobe light. That got a small laugh. And then I got a bigger one because I made a callback to another comedian set in the room. That's when I said that one's for David's mom. That's because this other comic, David, got up and he did a whole bit about how his mom had seizures. That was actually already, my epileptic joke was already in my set, so I just added that comment on to what I had already written. And that's something I'm learning, is if you can always tie another comedian's material to your own, if they say something similar, it'll usually get a laugh, because people recognize that you're paying attention, right? And we all are acknowledging what previously happened in the room. So, with that said, the strobe light joke didn't hit as hard as I was hoping for. And so, let's fix the bit here. How would I rewrite this joke? How would I tell it next time? So truthfully, I think this has a ton of potential. And honestly, I might work this into a bigger bit about just going through like every DSM-5 diagnosis and talking about what stupid cover the graphic designer could make for that disability. So let me take you through my start of the rewrite. Here's what I got. So I do the same first part. My parents gave me the OCD workbook, but the pattern on the cover wasn't symmetrical. Are you kidding me? What's their design for the ADHD workbook? A scratch and sniff? How was the book? I don't know. Cover was too distracting. Boom. Right there. I think good joke. ADHD is just much more commonly recognized by people.
Squirrel!
And so I think this joke is going to do better. I want to go further with this one. Like another thing I wrote down is, what if they have bipolar? Does the front cover say, you'll love this book, and you flip it to the back and it says, no, you won't? There's just so much potential with this joke. So I'm going to start with the ADHD one, and then I'm going to go from there. Alright, so that was Fix the Bit. Now let's talk about what did I learn this week? If you've been watching me, you know that I've been working on trying to be a little bit less robotic. And I feel like here, I still came across robotic. I'm really working on being a little bit more casual with my delivery, because that conversational style is what builds a connection with the audience. And I really have felt like I've lost them when I've sounded too rehearsed. So while I sounded a little rehearsed, I do think I had points where I sounded much more conversational. Like the moment I made the callback to the other comedian's joke. So I think I did a good job in this set at delivering my jokes, slowing down, which is another thing I've been working on, and, making sure I have some silence before I hit them with punchlines. And I'm still really working on this robotic thing. That's probably going to take me some time because I am just a very rehearsed guy. I like to memorize every word. But I think what I need to do is stop memorizing it word for word and just have the bullet points that I want to hit so that it can come out a little bit more naturally. So what do I rate this bit? I'm going to give this one a solid 7 out of 10. This week's performance went really well. This one particularly. And I think that I have the truth, the personality of who I am down. And now I'm just getting better at those jokes. And I definitely need to rewrite a lot of them, but this is a good development on an OCD bit that I have done before, but haven't really gotten super deep on. So, that's going to do it for week 24 in my journey to become a stand-up comedian in just 1 year. Hey, if you're pursuing a dream, you like stand-up, or you just want to see me bomb, you sick freaks, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, guys. It really helps out my channel. I'm just starting out. Toodles!